Guys, to the latest episode of In the Gutter podcast. We are back here at Bunbury's in Bolton, and our guest this week is Comedy Chris, as I'm now going to call him. Sorry about the little delay in episodes. That's partially down to my partner in crime. He's been busy. But yeah,
exciting.
well, we're back
Interesting
here.
times, I think. Is the phrase,
Back here
isn't
at Bunbury's, and we just about made the June edition with it being June 30th, but hopefully there'll be a bit more
Yeah.
thick and fast.
How long is it since the last one? Is that of interest?
4 or 5 weeks, no? Is it
It's
more
not
than
been
that?
4 or 5 weeks. It was April. We missed
April.
April in its entirety. I just got back from Rhodes.
May we do one?
So, well, I've been telling you, but he's been threatening me and it's just never happened. So,
Yeah. So we've got Chris Keogh here today. So Chris is one of our regulars. Calls in most nights of the week.
No.
If-
I don't know who's watching this. I call him maybe once or twice.
if his family watching, I've never seen him. I don't even know if he's called Chris.
He waves on his way past from the allotment
Yeah.
and Morrison's.
Oh, whatever. Exercise or
Exercise.
something like that. Exactly.
So Chris started out live as a barrister, moved into stand-up comedy, and that's why I've been practicing the joke.
And then alcoholism, apparently.
Yeah. They
So-
go hand in hand with both professions, to be fair.
So obviously with you two being called Chris, what I've decided is that I'm going to be called not Bono. That way everyone will know I am not you two.
Has he had a drink, guys? Is there anything in that?
Sorry. I'm just trying to work out the logic of the structure of that joke.
Yeah.
Spent all morning working on that one.
I think it's been over
Right.
engineered.
Literally joke, but
So before we get into obviously, so this is Chris. So we've started the draft beer, so it's going flat. So I thought we'd quickly get into the first beer, and then we'll get to find out a little bit more about Chris. Yeah.
Cool.
So our first one is Skynet. This is from Drop Project, which is from Mitcham, East London. So obviously it's hazy IPA, really hoppy. So this brewery was created by JT, Will and Joe in 2019. So 2 surfers and a snowboarder. Yes, apparently so. Judging by the pictures
I thought he was
anyway.
being
to be fair
prejudicial.
though, it sounds about right. That's the kind of random thing that comes together. Do you know what we should do, lads, after they'd had a hard day of skiing and snowboarding?
Yeah.
Let's just do a brewery.
Yeah.
So, we've not got the tag because Daryl's left it over there on the pump.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right. Right. I don't know if this is relevant, but guys, just give me a thumbs up for outside. Is that?
Fun.
yeah. We usually get, or we've started to get a following. People come in. Generally, they just invade and then just come and sit around. I really like
Not
that.
getting massive aroma on it, but the flavours are really nice. A bit of peach in there.
I would say it's very fruity. It's very soft as well, actually. It's nice.
So I'm going to say, because Chris, you're normally, I know you, when you come into the bar, you prefer the cask beers, so obviously this is a keg. So this is significantly more hoppy than the ones that you tend to get. So what do we think?
And more expensive, which is why
And wildly
since
more
it's free,
expensive.
I'll give it a whirl. Yeah, it's good. It's quite sort of, what's the word? On the aftertaste, it lingers the aftertaste a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I would say.
I definitely get it. Did you say mango peach? I would say it's like mango peach, isn't it, at the end?
Peach. Yeah. Actually, I've just been warming it a little bit. I'm getting a bit more on the aromas coming through. It is really tropical fruit. I mean, typical of this kind of style of IPA. I
Like I
don't
say,
feel
it's
a lot of crafting.
very, very soft. It's nice. It's not sharp or harsh or anything like that. It's a
No.
very easy drink.
I feel like you've got like access to a vocabulary describing beer that isn't really within my
Sorry.
seconds, to be honest with you.
We'll bring it
Wait till you've had a few more sips and it'll just all come out.
bring a crib sheet for next time.
No, that's very good.
Yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
it.
I looked into like wine tasting years ago, and basically the conclusion was whatever you're getting out of the flavour, you're right. That's what you're getting.
yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, don't worry about
like the
that.
idea that you would say that tastes like and say no, it doesn't. You're wrong. You're wrong. It's
I
just-
did wine tasting as well, but it's quite funny how like you're not the only one. I'll go out with my missus and can you smell like you get the chocolate and this and that? She'll go, wine.
Wine, yeah,
And she'll
yeah.
have another sip of something and go, also wine.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, you absolute wrong.
Right, I'm not very good at picking up subtle sort of flavours and smell. Like smell
No.
rubbish. I've no like.
Yeah.
Sense of smell. But
I think ultimately it's whether you like it or not.
yeah.
I don't think you can't dislike, you can dislike that, sorry.
No. It's a little bit more bitter on the finish than a lot of this style beer as well.
That's-
Yeah, but it's, like I said, it's not not a traditional bitter, it's a
No.
it's a fruit
It's,
punch.
It's
That's
not.
what I
It's
mean,
not like it's not hoppy, is it? At the end, it's not got
That's
that
why I said
sort
it's
of
not sharp.
No.
yeah, but it does have this sort of like,
Powerful
but
taste.
it's not sweet either at the end. It's
No.
like it is like a it's
Yeah.
bitter but not dry. You know what I mean?
Because what the modern style for these hoppy, these really hazy pales is to miss out on that bitterness at the finish. I mean, I'm not, don't get me wrong, they still do it and they still have bitter and hops in there, but they tend to make it way more subtle. But that's quite
Subtle
that's
is
quite
the
bitter.
word.
What's the deal with the hazy IPAs and the hazy beers?
What did you
Where
think
did
he was
what
going to
was it?
say?
Where did that was
What
going?
hops are in?
no.
I thought you were saying what hops are in. I like that.
No. Get it onto my personal life, is it?
Right, so it's
Because it's
oils.
very fashionable, isn't it? That
Yeah.
sort of thing.
So there are various ways of doing it. Sometimes it's the yeast. So your New England IPAs use a yeast that will bring out the oils from the hops and leave the haze in there.
So it's
It's
oil.
just flavouring oils.
I nearly wanted the New England one that's on the board. Can you even see the board, or have you just turned your head to the right? I thought you had.
I was kind of like,
What is he talking about?
Indicating for the
Yeah.
viewers at home, that's where the board is. So,
just never looking in different directions.
Just turned full weather girl.
Yeah, so I mean, if we compared, I think if you compared the New England one with this, you wouldn't have the bitterness on the end. But again, it's the yeast that really leaves this real haziness. I mean, you can't. The only chance you've got of clearing this is like centrifuge. The traditional way is to use.
You look so lost then.
yeah.
What?
Right, so they use finings in a lot of traditional beers, and that will take that little bit of haze out. But finings wouldn't touch this; it wouldn't clear it. So you'd have to centrifuge it. So you basically separate the oils out.
So it wouldn't have that flavour though. Does the haze create like a
Yeah,
flavour
you
or a
lose
texture
flavour,
or whatever?
you
Because it sort
definitely
of tastes a
flavour.
bit sort of the hazy ones. I don't know whether it's like just an optical illusion, therefore transposing into my sort of taste buds, but it sort of has like a thicker texture. It feels like than
Yeah, well,
the clear one.
I mean, it
Is
would
that-
make sense.
Is that real or am I just making that up?
That's a good question.
Not so much thicker, but it's
It has a sort of body.
it's
to
more.
it.
It's
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's more of a fizz. It feels like it's more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
it's not farting. There's more punch to it. It's heavy. I know what I mean.
I mean, the only
It's like I've
the
never
best-
liked an American IPA ever. I've never drank one and gone, that's amazing. I've always gone, and I love IPAs.
I mean, these are American hops and American yeasts.
No, but-
So, yeah. But the best example I came across for comparing the two was Magic Rocks High Wire. So years ago, it was hazy like this. Then they got a centrifuge and they cleared it. And it didn't feel as the same in the mouth, so it didn't have that mouth feel, so it didn't have that texture, and it certainly didn't taste the same.
Right.
I felt it was a bit sweeter, a bit more, like I said, there's no body to it, so it definitely contributes to the beer.
I like that. Well done surfers and skateboarders or surfboarders or whatever you said. I can't remember.
I'm wearing my surfing
There you
t-shirt.
go. He's practically a brother.
Yeah.
But no, very very. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, that was good. Good choice, me.
Well done, you, Chris. Right, so Chris, I mean, before you became a stand-up comedian, you were a barrister, so tell us a little bit about that. I mean, why leave and...
All right, okay. Why leave?
Everybody watching this is now going, please give us something really good. Tell us about an interesting case.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I didn't used to work for a firm that I used to work for a firm that did prison law, so all of my clients were all sort of lifers, so they're all murderers and serial sex offenders. So it was a bit grim.
Let's not go too much
Well,
into
so I mean,
that,
so we could go down that road if you wanted. But no, for a long time I was doing comedy alongside the day job, as it were, and I just did that. Eventually, I just ran out. I didn't have enough energy to keep both going. But there's quite a lot of crossover of skills, you know what I mean, between one and the other. You know, it's like it's
Yeah.
public speaking, it's sort of arguing points you don't necessarily believe in, you know.
It was hecklers.
And dealing with hecklers, although you know most hecklers can't sort of send you to cells for lunchtime if they don't like what you say about some like judges can. But it's it seemed it didn't. People were always surprised, but for me it didn't seem like it was a massive difference. You know what I mean, between the two. It was like
Speaking in front of people.
Yeah, speaking in front of people, analysing things from all sorts of different angles and trying to sort of break things down to the constituent parts and putting them back together. You know, like it's a lot of the same sort of thing, and it's easier in a lot of ways doing stand-up, except for the fact that you know you have to drive millions of miles and you're constantly hustling for gigs and whatever. But the actual sort of like day-to-day sort of like mechanics of it are fairly straightforward, I think.
So why did you choose to be embarrassed in the first place?
Money.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought, and I was like, I really shouldn't have done that. If I wanted money, I should have just got into like dealing drugs or something. But that's
We do not condone sale of drugs.
But you know, it's like most of your clients had more money than you. It was the thing.
Yeah, well, yes.
But it was just something. It was one of those. Like I went to comprehensive school. I was fairly bright, and basically they have that sort of like binary path of like, well, you can either be a doctor or a lawyer because you're quite good at academically. So I didn't like the idea of.
So you thought I'll be a barrister because there's less blood and guts,
Exactly.
and then all you got were murderers,
All I got were murderers.
which was blood and guts.
Yeah. I got to hang around with like scum and villainy far more than anything.
Because man, this is a solicitor, and I've always thought like, and obviously you watch your Law and Orders and all your other crappy American sitcoms, but you just kind of think, I couldn't sit there if I was like a defence lawyer, knowing full well they'd done something, and just depending on the severity of it. If it were just like rob some old grandma of a purse, I'd be like, oh well, times are hard. It's horrible, that, isn't it? But it's just like, but you know, like rapists, murderers, like you said, sex offenders and stuff. I don't know how they do it.
Or defend them.
No, like just. I don't know. It's
the money.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like my moral compass would take over.
It's not the money because there's not really any money in that sort of criminal defence work. It's literally it's the things that if you know someone's done this, if they tell you I've done this, you can't then defend them if they want to go not guilty. Because you can't mislead the court. So you can't. So like when people sort of say, "What if you know someone's done it?" You can strongly suspect someone's done it, and you will advise them accordingly.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if they say I've not done this, I want to go not guilty, you then have a job to do in terms of making the prosecution prove their innocence, because ultimately they're innocent until they're proven guilty. So that's how you've got to reconcile yourself with
So what lured you into? Obviously, you said you did comedy at the same time as being a barrister. At what point did you think people tell me I'm funny, so I'm going to go and just grab a microphone and try it?
It was so the catalyst. It was one of those things I'd always fancied doing it. I was always a big fan of stand-up, and I'd always been quite good at speaking publicly. It wasn't really an issue for me. And then I went watching a mate of mine do an open mic night at the Comedy Store in Manchester, do one of these gong shows. So I don't know if you're aware of the concept. You get up to 5 minutes, right? What happens is like the MC will give out 3 cards to different members of the audience, and when all 3 cards go up, they basically go, right, I don't like this guy, I'm putting my card up, get him off. Right. Then once all 3 go, the gong will go, and then you have to get off. But if you get to your 5 minutes, you get to go through to the final, and if you win, you get like 50 quid in the open spot.
I thought you were going to say like 10 grand then.
No, it's every month, so they're not giving away, they don't get that much money. But
it's all for kudos.
So I went to watch a mate of mine do it, just like completely randomly. It was like the day before, and another mate of mine, mutual friend, said, "Have you heard JP's doing this? Just now chatting, they're doing this gig." So I went to watch him, and he was terrible. Like, it was like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Please tell me it started by you going, "I'm better than you," and they went, "There's the mic."
But then things like he had a bad back, so he was like off his head on morphine, and then had a couple of drinks. So he was just on stage whittering on all sorts of crap. And basically the MC gonged him out. The MC was Justin Horror, and he struck the gong, and he refused to leave. You know, and it was just like
it's my microphone, and I'm
he was just basically having a breakdown on stage, like, but not in a controlled way, which is what lots of stand-up actually is, really. If you look at it. But then afterwards he was fine. You know what I mean? It was like it wasn't like anything terrible had happened to him. So I just thought, well, if that's what he's like afterwards, that's as bad as it can probably go, I reckon.
I can't be any worse.
And I can't be worse than that. So I'll give it a go next month. So I signed up for the next one, and I was pretty good. I got to like 4 minutes 50 odd seconds. I nearly got to my 5 minutes.
I'd have been fuming. I'd have thrown the microphone.
I was a bit annoyed, but then I started, and then just started from there. Started doing open mic stuff, and
Nice.
and then it just sort of snowballs from there. If you got any ability at all,
Brilliant. Well, we'll get to the next one and then we'll discuss your time in comedy.
Your comedic.
So, our next beer is cider from Ascension. So, these guys are down in Etchingham, Sussex. So, Matt is the brewer down there. And since we're on to extreme sports, he's a hot air balloon pilot, apparently. I found that out
an
today.
extreme sport? Hot air ballooning?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the worst that could happen other than ending up in space?
Yeah,
Have you not read
There we go.
what Blue Falls Out
I've never read that book. It's not an extreme sport. That just sounds like an act of stupidity. I think rule book 101, Chris, in my balloon, don't fall over.
It'll come to me. You know, he wrote
It won't come
Chesil
to it.
Beach.
Ian McEwan.
Yeah, right. He
The
does
writer
one,
Ian
doesn't he?
McEwan.
Yeah, he did one. Where they go up in a balloon,
He's talking about
and
a
it
novel.
crashes. Yeah, and they all grab onto the rope to try and stop it. And as it's going up, only one keeps hold and falls to his death. It's really, really
That's
good.
That's an act of stupidity.
That's not how you hot air balloon though. That's not how it works. Like, if it was, then that would be an extreme sport. Like you can have a picnic in there. It can't be an extreme sport if you can picnic while you're doing it. It would be mine.
Well, I mean, basically, yeah, but it's not. Is it a picnic if you're actually in the picnic basket? Right, anyway, so Matt is a hot air balloonist. So he started brewing after getting a home brew book from the library, and in 2017 he made his
That's
first
what explains
batch.
why younger viewers what libraries are.
A library.
We're not paying you for any of your jokes.
Was once a room full of books.
So what's good about these guys? It's all fresh fruit that goes into these.
It smells
So this is
amazing.
lemon, lime, and red grape cider. Or a blend. So it is. It
Sweet red grape. Just say it. It smells amazing, but
is. It's
Just
really
sounds
sweet.
good.
It's a little bit but it finishes a slightly tart.
I was intrigued in as to see your initial reaction. You kind of like, hold on, I'm getting this and I'm getting that.
No, wait, I'm getting raspberries there, but there's no raspberries in it apparently.
No, I guess.
Yeah, but I want to say if you get a sweet red apple, generally they're not a million miles off.
No.
Well, that. I don't often throw the word delicious around, but that is delicious.
That is really
Well,
good.
it is actually just reading the can. It's really unusual. So we've got russet, Bramley, and Gower apples. Well, they're all eating apples. So most ciders are made from cider apples that are inedible. They really are
Because they
sweet.
taste like.
So these will give you a real. So starting with
Bramley
apple
not cooking
juice, alcoholic apple juice. So, well, it's an eating apple rather than
Alright.
a cider apple.
That
Um,
is very, very good.
but it-
That's summer in a bowl, that.
But
Yeah.
what takes it? See, what for me, what gets it away from just being like a fruit juice there's a finish to it that makes it feel a little bit more grown up.
The thing is though, you get nothing but fruit, and then at the end you get the natural sugars, which makes you want to drink more. So I feel like if on a 30-degree summer day you had 10 of them in the fridge, it's game over.
You'd get through them fairly quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember the same story about lunchtime.
So say the
By
tart
lunchtime,
citrus
tends
joins
to.
forces with the cider's acid, puckering you up for a kiss of sweet red grape.
That is
Well, we're back to Chris's ring, aren't we?
Yeah.
See that? He's had 2 drinks.
He's already just.
Well, we're always
Descended to
down
film.
from the
He's
start.
already talking
isn't
about
it?
one of our rings. I don't know who. Well, that
At this
is-
point, he's not really fussed, I don't think.
I'm going to say, I'm going to try and sip that until
Well-
we get to the next one, because
Well, this is my problem. I've just finished that in 2 goes. It's like
that's what I'm
it's
on about.
just
If you had 10 of them
so
in the
easy.
fridge, they'd go.
It doesn't taste much more alcoholic than just like grape juice, does it? You know what I mean?
That's it. That's it. It's like a cranberry grape juice kind.
Yeah,
That's the taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Too easy, far too easy. So, Chris, you got into stand-up, and I'm fully aware you're now the second funniest man in Bolton.
Okay.
After me.
Right?
I was saying the top spot's open for grabs, is it? Is that
Peter Kay still
Peter
there.
Kay?
Well, I thought you were going to say Cash.
Oh, look
Cash.
at you can't believe it. It's Cash.
Because Cash sat here on the just 2 months ago and he was like, I'm the funniest man alive. So,
It is funny.
So, I mean, I'm fully aware that you're now doing a lot of touring, and I think for me, the greatest thing is that you're touring with Jeff Norcott, which is really really impressive.
Yeah, well, like my sort of like opposite in terms of politically. Although we get on well, though. You know what I mean?
Well, I know you said that. I know your views are much more left wing, but I've listened to Jeff Norcott. Despite all his suppositories and all this, when you actually listen to him talk, his views are pretty left wing, to be honest. He just has this right wing twist on the whole thing. Sorry,
No. So, but in terms of someone I could be supporting, it can confuse the audience a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
But it works though. You know, I come out first and sort of explain why he's wrong about everything, and then he sort of comes out and explains why I was wrong, and then it's sort of, you know, like in terms of. It's always a mixed up.
Sounds like he's doing his barrister act again. You sit there for 1 minute and someone goes, he's definitely not done it. And then he goes, he's definitely done it. And nobody has a clue.
Yeah, it works because the audiences are always a bit of a mixed bag as well.
Yeah.
It's not like an EDL rally or something. You know what I mean? It's sort of it's full.
We'll get an England flag in background next time we do
I was going to say, you're not seeing your next gig.
But so it's good. They're always good fun. They're nice gigs to do because they're in nice venues, and it's like people that have actually paid to come out to watch.
So where's the best place you've played and why?
Oh, that's a good question. There's because I've had some really good gigs in what you would think might be crap venues, and likewise played some good venues. And
Yeah, I didn't necessarily mean like the grandest, biggest stage.
So
I just meant the best one and why. So you could turn around and go, I literally played a crappy little bar mitzvah for 30 people, and it was funny because.
yeah. It's I quite like the sort of smaller. Sort of like smaller sort of intimate event like gigs, because that's what you need really for comedy. I think like the bigger the sort of like the bigger the room, the more difficult it is to create like a rapport and an atmosphere. So I quite like. I mean, I played here, you know what I mean, and that was fun. Because that was quite daunting because I basically knew everyone in the audience.
Yeah. Fire, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
How did I not know you've done a comedy night here?
Yeah, you've done two.
I've done a couple. Yeah.
Where were I?
Literally got. This is probably early days of your.
It's
I thought
pre
I was
sort of
I
lockdown.
thought I was going to say this is
Not
the
last
earlier
week.
days of the pub. I was going to say, yeah, no, I've been coming in since the earlier days of the pub.
Must have got about 20 people in.
Yeah,
I'd have come to that.
I do find it quite funny because we did get a lot of older generation who, Roy Chubby Brown and Bill.
I don't think it was what they were.
Tim Bowen and that kind of like is their kind of comedy, you know.
No,
Labour Club kind of stuff.
It was fine though, because what I like is sort of winning over people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sort of making them laugh despite themselves.
So, I have like a two-part question only because I'm curious as to. No, what are you laughing at? No, I'm curious as to like as the mind. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
As the mindset of a comedian, because like the first bit of it is obviously so. Like with my job, I'm used to going out and speaking on a microphone in front of potentially thousands of people, but I only have to deliver what's written in front of me.
Right.
So I don't have to take into context that there's people around me. Generally, I can't see them anyway because of the light.
Yeah.
But before you go on stage, you know you've got to interact with hundreds, potentially thousands of people. What's your plan of action to go out and do what you've planned in your head, or to try and provoke somebody who might say something, and then you can go off on a tangent? I've always been curious as to what the initial mindset is.
So a bit of both, to be honest with you, because it does depend on the nature of the gig and what your role there is, whether you're opening, whether you're closing the gig. Because if you're opening, you've got a responsibility to make sure the gig works for the acts that follow as well. So you can't afford to set fire to the gig by sort of battering everyone in the front row. You know?
Drop the mic and then say,
and then go to the car and walk. So, and some acts do that. I don't care about what happens after them, but I'm always mindful of the fact that, you know, I've got to be respectful to my colleagues and also everyone else in the room. We've got a full night of this ahead of us. So that depends. It depends on that. It depends what happens in the room to some degree. Basically, I think as you get more experience with it, you become more confident in your ability to effectively work with any scenario and have enough sort of material that you can weave into the night. You know,
Yeah.
rather than having like a set list of going, I'm going to do this,
Yeah,
this.
so you've got the main plot, but then you quite easily just throw in little side bits depending on if some idiot shouts something.
Yeah. And sometimes it can just be that because of how the rapport with the audience is, it won't necessarily be that them talking back to you, but just what they're reacting to. That you go off on tangents and you go, oh, for like a bit of material you've been doing it the same way for say 3 years, and there's a tangent that goes like, oh, that was really obvious. Why haven't I thought about that before? You know, and it's just you're in a different mental state. So like you basically have these sort of, if you like think of it as being like a musician, like say like jazz or something, where it's improvised. It's not properly improvised.
So you're a hard rock song.
There's sort of like
Yeah.
signatures.
Yeah.
There's like you know progressions and all that in it. You think I'll chuck one of them in now and I'll do that there and then create something different each time. So it's that sort of thing. You sort of just play a hyper version.
Did that come naturally, or is it kind of something you had to work on? Because to me that sounds really difficult.
It's something you've had to work. It's something I've had to work on. I think when you first start off, you become like you think of yourself as being like a delivery mechanism for your jokes.
Right.
Yeah,
If I'm doing this joke and this joke.
I see
and
that
this
it,
joke.
because certain things, I mean, obviously I've done it before, so in between events and stuff, I've ended up having to do like auctions, and then you try and drag the crowd in by getting them to bid on things and whatnot, and you do find that certain things come easily, and then I've gone off after doing like a 15-minute auction thinking, I couldn't do that for like, I couldn't do an half-hour set. After like 5 minutes, I've dried up, and you just think, people just have material just constantly.
Yeah. It takes a long time to work on the material and get it so you've got enough of it. But also, like you then sort of like you suddenly at one point you make a switch where you realise that no, actually, what I am is I'm the funny person. This is all a confidence trick, and that I'm pretending that I'm in charge of this scenario. There's two of them, there's one of me, and I'm the person in charge of it. Like they could easily outnumber me, and you know, like and assert their authority.
I walk straight across the camera.
Bloody hell, Jimmy!
Sorry, I'm going for a week.
No, this is why it's so good, right? Because we're live, we can't edit it out, and Jimmy just charges in going, what was that thing about not swearing on the podcast? And walks in and goes, I need a piss.
Well, there's a
Come on,
first.
Tom, come and join in, mate. Come and sit in here.
It's taking forever to get past this bloody walker.
Yeah, we'll do the next beer, and then I'll ask my second part of that question. If he
Right.
goes back past now, he can get in the sea. Use yours. It's over there.
So,
Although, to be fair, it's raining that heavily outside, now it looks like there's a sea out there.
right, so I don't know an awful lot about this. I've looked at this beer, I've looked the brewery
Right,
up and
to pour it.
everything.
Cheers.
So, oh sorry, I was just about to do it.
Is that used?
But our supplier turned up last week with this and they said, do you want to try it? So apparently it's the first time it's been in this country. They've never exported.
Tells that to all the small guys.
Well, I fell for it. So they're something like a 5th generation brewery, but they're a brew pub in Belgium.
What does that mean, 5th generation?
I'm assuming that he's great.
What was it like within the
His
family?
great grandfather.
Great granddad started
all
the
straight,
brewery.
right.
So then there'll be granddad.
I'm assuming that's what he meant. Well, yeah, so it's just a brew pub. It's
So not-
well worth a visit. Have a big windmill in the yard, big open space for hundreds of people. But like I said, the beer doesn't go anywhere. They
So no pressure.
do it almost entirely.
This needs to
for
be as
them.
good as yours for selection. You set the bar high.
I know, yeah.
Oh yeah, this is Chrissy's second
To
selection.
be fair though, I've had, obviously they're over there on the shelf, I've had the blood orange one, and the blood orange one was fantastic.
Well, this is it. I mean, we've got about
7%, well that's Belgian beer for you,
we've
so.
got about 6 different beers from them. And the blood orange is spectacular. If you go down to the brewery, they make cocktails with the beer.
Do you know what you should have picked?
So,
Which would have really hurt him inside. Actually, probably wouldn't have done, because after he'd had 3 sips, he'd have been off his head. You should have picked the 11%.
so and it smells like a Belgian beer. It has that bit seasonally, floral kind of
And it's
note.
healthy. Only 43 calories per third.
Oh, there you go.
It's practically a diet drink.
It's got a weird label. It's got like a Christmassy vibe to it. It's like got like fir trees,
Oh,
and
right.
a deer.
Yeah, rain.
Like, you don't
yeah.
associate them with
Yeah, Belgium.
Belgium.
So.
Well, it comes from.
I don't know. It's-
Jimmy, do you want to make more noise?
I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation. I mean, we've gone with Fanes, but it could be Fagnes in in the French-speaking part of Belgium.
I'd have guessed
I think
the G.
Fagnes would have been
Fang,
with
yeah.
a hard G.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So Fagnes. So that's the region of Belgium that it comes from.
Oh,
So, well, that's
I can't think what that smell is.
that's typical. That just smells like typical Belgian
Yeah.
beer. So that's the yeast general that gives that aroma.
it doesn't have the same. Some Belgian beers can be quite sweet, aren't they? Like that?
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's very dry. I think it's really dry.
It's very nice though.
Mm.
It's
Very slight. I think it's very slight caramelly kind of. It's not sweet. It's like caramel that sits in there.
No.
Without, you know, sometimes you get these malty beers and this caramel stands out. But it has that feeling of the malty kind of character without being sweet.
no, this is what I was saying earlier. I know it's a very different make of a beer because obviously it's Belgian lager, IPA. But for me, when I said there's the fruit punch, nice soft aftertaste, for me that's just too sharp.
It is very bitter on the finish. Very
Yeah.
dry, very bitter.
That drink actually, that initial bit, lovely.
Yeah.
And then after you've swallowed it, it's like, ooh, I just need some Vimto, get rid of that taste. Knew that, get him.
Yeah.
But it
That was
feels,
my
it does
joke.
leave my mouth feeling dry. It
Yeah.
feels dryness in the mouth, like
Yeah.
the dry white wines kind of do.
Yes.
But I like that.
Sort of biscuity,
I like that.
sort of
Oh, biscuity. Yeah, biscuit.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good
But
description.
that taste, when it's on your tongue, it is very, very,
I
very
think biscuit's a
pleasant.
good. Shut up for a minute. I said biscuit's a really good, really good description. I'm in a moment here.
So do you know what you just said about, I don't know, 22 minutes ago?
Yeah,
About,
Lexi,
you,
yeah,
you
yeah.
two have all of these describing words for this and that.
Pick it
Yeah.
up.
Look at that biscuits, and now Daryl's like, oh my god, yes, biscuits.
Add that to my arse.
Well, it does. It picks up the. You pick up. You know, people say, "Oh, got on this," and you're like, yeah,
But yeah,
I get that.
that whilst it's on you, that's very, very nice. But then the aftertaste is just,
I like that.
it's it's
I,
not
I,
me that.
I quite like a sort of really sort of dry, sort of
Yeah.
bitter aftertaste. Yeah,
Yeah.
that works for me. That.
Well, for me, that it's.
I wouldn't say
that's
no.
my favourite.
That's what I'm saying. It's not unpleasant.
Yeah.
I just feel like I need something just to take the edge off the taste.
Yeah.
So
That's where you would have a bit of cheese, wouldn't it? And you-
Well, exactly. How these.
we've
kind
been
of
saying
cheeses,
this for
so-
however many episodes that we're going to start partnering with food. And he keeps threatening me. What were you going to make me? Chili or something?
Fair with chili, haven't we? With Duchess de Bourgogne.
But it didn't happen. He actually said I made it. I just didn't bring you any. So that was
I
kind
decided
of
to throw it away.
yeah.
What was
And
it?
then
I can't
there was
remember.
it was cash, weren't it? With the was it steak stew or something and the stout in
Steak
it.
cheese, cheese. Oh,
And
yeah,
that-
but it was awful what he suggested.
Yeah, to be fair, it was like a Madagascar vanilla porter or something, and I thought, vanilla flavoured
Yeah.
stew, not for me, no.
Well, it either wouldn't work or it'd be absolutely brilliant. And like
Well, that's
something-
it, Marmite,
Yeah.
innit?
Award-winning stew. You know what I mean?
Could you imagine award-winning stew at Castle Warwick?
I don't know what award he would have won. Best stew.
Bunbury's
probably.
best stew.
Yeah, only Bunbury's.
So,
Yeah, I like that.
So, going on to part 2 of my question from before.
Oh yeah.
How do you cope with, and I'll give you an example, not necessarily...
What, good at heckling now?
No, not necessarily losing a room, but do you have to get to the venue to see how your material meets that? So for example, I went to a comedy night about 2 or 3 weeks ago, like the headline act was, I forgot his name now, Archie, it was in Phoenix Nights.
Archie Kelly.
Archie, yeah, but because he was, I don't know, is he 50, 60, something like that, and the room was 60, 70-year-olds for the most part,
Yeah.
everything, he just walked out and it was effortless and everybody rolled around laughing, but obviously I can still, because I remember Phoenix Nights and it was what it was, but some of the younger people didn't get it. But there was one lad there who, his whole act was, well, he picked on a guy in the front row, like you said, he said, I can't cripple the front row for the rest of the act, but then he was on about things like OnlyFans and stuff like that. So for the 10 of us that were of my age, thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
There was another 180 people behind us going,
had no frame of reference for
What
so-
are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I can imagine they genuinely went home and looked in the Nokia 3310s at what OnlyFans was. Do you know what I mean?
I love pixelated porn.
So do you so do you go with a mindset of I'm gonna go with this, or do you get there, see what the audience is, and maybe have multiple? I don't know.
I think you have to make some concessions to your audience. It's about finding a way to be able to do your act in front of different audiences. So you don't sort of change your material to suit your audience.
No.
But you are sort of, you're always editing while you're on stage. You're always like thinking, all right, I'll have one or two tester gags to see. All right,
And you get
they've
certain
got that.
reactions.
That means that they'll be all right with that. But they've not gone with that. Means I'll stay away from that.
Right.
And then I'll move on to do. I'll take it down this way.
Right.
And I've always got like a couple of routines. I've got a routine about Jim will fix it, which if you hear me doing that, it's a good routine. But if I'm doing that, that's because I've gone right. These lot aren't up for the satire.
How did we
So
go-
let's do it.
How did we go from sampling a few beers to Jimmy Savile? Whilst Jimmy and behind the bars over there going, are they filming?
I'm listening.
So is everyone else.
Yeah. But it's just an example of the sort of thing that you need to do to keep them on side. So basically, like you need to be able to relate. It's about group psychology. To relate to as many people as possible. You'll never have 100% of the audience on side because that's just not. It's not human nature to do that. But it's about getting as many on side to create like a tipping point, so that they go with what you're talking about. So it's like if I was doing a room and it was like everyone was aged 50, 60 plus, I wouldn't be making references to OnlyFans or anything like that because I'm just going to think, well, they're not going to get it, so what's the point of doing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a bit like when you see London acts come up and start doing jokes about the tube. I'm like, well,
Yeah, it's
I
just
mean, it's nothing to us. You know
Because
what I
like
mean?
using that one lad as an example, he started off very well in the sense he didn't necessarily pick the guy picked on him in the front. So then he just got to general chit chat about how old are you, and he was like 19, and he was like, oh, you, sorry, 29. He was like, have you with any of these little ladies? And he was like, yeah, that one. And he was like, oh, how long you been together? And he said 13 years, which would have made him 16. So then he kind of looked at him, and then looked at her, and he was like, you're a nonce, because she was about 26, so she'd have been like 13.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, he's going to go down this avenue, and then he completely just changed the whole
Or being
thing.
beaten up by somebody in the
No,
audience.
no, but what I'm saying is though, it was just the fact that the crowd found it funny because it was live interaction.
And it was about them as well.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. And then all of a sudden he just went, yeah, so, and then he went
As
to
I was saying,
OnlyFans, and it was just like,
Yeah.
you've lost all but 10 of us.
That's the risk. Like moving from audience interaction into material is really hard. It's a bit of a gear change. You know what I mean? And sometimes if you go out to, if the first thing you do is interact with the audience and you don't have a way to segue into material, you just go and abruptly change it into it. You just go, hold on, this is supposed to be about me and my stupid shirt that I'm wearing. You know what I mean? That's a skill in itself. Isn't
Come
it?
back and pick on me a little bit more.
You have to put a hat on for the second set. You know what I mean? Which is sort of there's a skill to being able to sort of get them to where you get the audience to where you
Well,
want.
yeah, obviously, you'd have some idea whether you want the show to do it or not.
Yeah, well, it's like it's about like not selling out. You don't want to sell yourself out to do just like a sort of almost begging for laughs. That's not what you want to do. But likewise, you've got to be aware of what they're going
Please,
with.
just someone laugh.
Because that just becomes so uncomfortable for everyone. You know what I mean? Like chasing a laugh. So you've got to make some concessions to them to allow for them to have a good night as well. Because you think about it, especially when you start getting paid for it. I'm being paid to be here, so this is my job.
Yeah.
These lot have all paid to be here, so they've come for a night out. So I've got to make sure that they enjoy the night out. It's not all about me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whereas like newer comics want to make it all about
Just imagine him going out there, starting and going like, the more you laugh, the more pounds I get paid. Just go for the best.
So, where can people see you in the next few weeks?
So I'm doing a new hour-long show in Morecambe in the
Nice and local.
22nd of July, and then August I'm off. Basically, I've got some warm-up gigs before then, just here and there. I can't remember where they are though. And then starting September, I'm back to Point Jeff Norfolk on tour again, across the Midlands and the North. So
You're playing the world famous Hollywood Road.
I'm playing Hollywood Road on the 16th of December, where I'll have to have the exact interaction that you're talking about.
There you go. That was a pre-warning. That was a
That
pre-warning.
was a good heads up to
Yeah.
I'll be starting with my Jim will fix it routine.
Yeah,
But at least they get that though, because they grew up alongside him and lived with him.
Yeah.
You might make them cry and bring back the
Yeah.
memories.
And older audiences love the Jim will fix it routine. Like,
Well,
Yeah, but they're aren't though, aren't they? They don't care about things like that. It's just like, well, it is what it is.
It's worth it.
It was worth it.
You like that? You like that?
Right.
Drive that car, isn't he?
yeah, no matter what anybody says, Jim will fix it. Did a great service for stand-up comedy.
I used to love it genuinely as a TV programme. It was brilliant.
Well, it was.
I had no idea of the dark underbelly. You know what I mean? But it was
The darkest underbelly.
I mean, you grew up with him. He was on TV all the time.
Yeah.
And he always felt like he was behaving.
To be fair though, I remember once being in Leeds with my ex-partner and he came into BB's restaurant and honest to God, the stench that came off him, he looked unclean, but because he basically slept with a cigar in his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
right.
You could smell his breath from 38. It was awful, and I just thought, ugh. And then when it's all come out, you just think that was more than just torture, weren't it? In some cases.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I like how smell of a cigar is clear evidence that you're guilty of paedophilia.
No,
Sniffing, he smells guilty.
horrible, man. Right, lead us in
Should we try the last one?
now. The best one. It's the best
Right.
one, exactly.
So, doing this one, we've got Rivington Brewery, because basically we were waiting to do any Rivington Brewery beers until we got up to Rivington Brewery, but trying to pin Ben down to do a podcast.
Don't badmouth him. We love you, Ben. Let's pin you down. Whoa, that sounded good.
Talking to Jim will fix it.
Oh, you went there, did you?
So this is a fruited Berliner Weiss. Chris has got all of the.
I heard sour.
I
and
can't
just, oh, go on then.
see what it is.
What's it called?
So raspberry and blackberry, that was it.
Wine comes. I've had
Well, I could have told you that.
Yeah.
You can't say you've had it. They're not supposed to know.
All right, sorry.
He's never tasted it before in his life. Right, what I'm hoping this tastes like,
Let me guess.
no, but without the vanilla, is the
Is it the dark green?
yes, with the vanilla and the
Oh, of course.
blackberry.
Well, this is going to be a lot. Oh, I was just going to say it's going to be a lot lighter in texture, but
Then
I just
then-
poured all the
then I got
fruit
the
out the bottom into it.
It's alright.
So you might get a lot of texture in there as well. But the Berliner Weiss is obviously a particular style of beer. It's the German sour beer. It's usually characterised by a little bit of salt. I'm going to say saltiness on the finish. But
It's only 3.7% as well, so
Yeah,
I
they
don't
never-
think it's going to be too.
So, I think I've probably said this before, but I've been to our German beer supplier and said, do you do any Berliner Weisses? Import any German? He went, oh God, no, that's what all the winos drink in Germany. Okay,
Really?
don't bother. Apparently so.
The
It's
Weiners.
a cheaper style, but
Yeah, mine
I
looks
was
a
going
bit.
to say it looks.
Mine looks a bit more clunky than yours, doesn't it,
Yeah.
as well? Because it all just.
Well,
fine
they're all
bottles.
slightly different colours depending on how much
Oh.
of the bottom of the
Very good
can you
results,
got.
smells good.
Well, just when you pour the first bit out, it's beautifully clear. So it'll be all natural fruit. Ben is a class brewer. He'll have done it all naturally.
Yes.
But the smell on that is.
I'm all in on that. Absolutely
Just
love
fruit
a sour.
salad.
That is it. I love a sour, and that is genuinely fruit.
You've
salad.
left all fruit down the side of your glass.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll just keep doing that before I have another sip. See, that's another 10 pinter in the summer, just at a barbecue on your
Yeah.
own.
See, a bit. Honest with you, that feels a bit dry as well.
Yeah, I understand
Um,
what your point on that.
yeah, you're
It's,
just concerned about it, but it's not bitter.
No, that's what I was going to say, but it isn't.
No,
it's not
sour,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's the,
but it's. I like that because it is very fruity, but it's not massively tarty.
no, and it's not too sweet either. You're like, one or two of the fruit beers can be a bit sickly, can't they? You know?
Yeah.
Whereas, you know,
Well, we did.
We've got, so obviously sours tend to come in two types. A sour and a sweet drink, which sounds really weird. But a lot of our popular sours are so loaded with fruit that they're just sweet with a slightly tart finish
yeah.
rather than sour.
We did one
But
a
this
few,
is genuinely a little bit sour.
We did one a few episodes ago, though, didn't we? And you
No,
know,
Vault City,
you know,
was
it's
it Vault
proper
City?
tart when Daryl has a sip and goes like that. That's what I'm on about. So it's like sour that in that sense.
So, well, also a lot of beers that you get raspberries in, you tend to just get that raspberry tartness. That seems to be the kind of level of tartness, and which I love. I think it's great.
So Berliner Weiss, normally, because I've been to Berlin.
I'm just worried, Chris, because you're going to ask a really clever question. I won't know the
But
answer.
it normally it comes. It doesn't have. It's not preloaded with the fruit, is it? You'll have syrup afterwards.
Yeah,
And it's
so
like when I was there, it was either Woodruff, whatever
Yeah.
that is, and
it's,
raspberry.
well,
Or
Woodruff.
raspberry.
Traditionally, Woodruff was one of the big flavours in beers. So hops is a fairly recent flavouring for beer. So before that, it was all herbs and spices, and Woodruff was a really popular one. The problem with Woodruff is, I think, it's slightly hallucinogenic, so you've got to be careful with it.
We're having Amsterdam
So they
beers.
don't tend to put. So they've kind of like gone away from it.
But they make like the syrup's like bright green, and they put it into
Yeah.
because like the beer's sort of
Yeah.
pale in
So
colour,
they-
isn't it?
So what you'll tend to find, the traditional way is you'll get an unflavoured Berliner Weiss, and you add the syrup, mix it in. We did one over Christmas, and Keith that comes in did a Christmas pudding syrup. So we had an orange Berliner Weiss
remember this.
from Brighton Beer. Add the Christmas pudding syrup to it, so you got this orange and Christmas pudding flavour. Absolutely brilliant. Well, that is the technique, yeah.
Yeah. So is that is that actually Berliner? Can you call it Berliner Weiss then? Is that all right? to do?
Well, by the sounds of it, you're calling it a Horitcher Weiss.
yeah.
It is a good
Is
question.
it a
I don't
protected
think.
term or not?
I was just going to say, I don't think Berliner Weiss is protected.
Right.
There's not. There are.
You know what I mean? Though, like Stilton or
God, fancy that Bolton floor ripping off them Germans. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Again, I'm sure I'm going to be corrected on this when this goes out. So I think there are only one or possibly two traditional Berliner Weiss producers left in Berlin. So it's not enough to get protected status, or they've not bothered to.
Oh, right,
you know,
okay.
they've not pursued it. So anybody
They're
can
quite
call
chill
it
like that,
Berliner
the Germans,
Weiss.
aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
right.
I had so
Not-
many,
not afraid he does for
I had
it,
so
are
many
they?
responses to that then. They're very chill then,
I
Germans.
was seeing which way one of you would go with it, but you both.
We both immediately thought the same thing, but he said it.
So I think it should be protected as a name, you know, but
Right,
you'd
yeah,
never see it.
Yeah.
So, but I like them. I like the Berliners. They're definitely the lightest of the sours. Much easier to drink and best for summer stout.
That's
The thing is you've got all that fruit in the bottom of it, which kind of makes it thick and more texture, so it loses a little of that lightness. But I'm not saying it's going to take away from the flavour.
Really?
I like it.
all that puree and pulp. That's what I like. Look at that. Beautiful.
Got a spoon.
You know what that reminded me of then? That stuff that you do feed kids that come in pouches. Would you like some banana puree for your
that's
pudding? Look at it, it's down all outside of glass. Lovely that. Ignoring Ben, I'll come and do it on my own. I love that. That was a good pick. It was a good, to be
time I
fair,
was up there. They had it on tap.
it was a good shout because I didn't know you'd have had it. I didn't back there. It was only just
No. It just arrived yesterday.
But it will be on the shelves later here at Bunbury's in Bolton.
So finally, Chris, at the Infinite Pub, any beer in the
Here we
world,
go.
what would you have? You can order
What's it?
anything you want.
It can either be your start of the night beer or your end of the night beer.
On the
Don't look at them.
I was going to say
Anywhere in the world
What's he
here.
got on there?
Anywhere in the world.
Something.
I was trying to think what's the nicest because like it's often context related, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
There you go, it's the Infinite Pub, so you can have it.
Say,
It's
say something massively commercial now. for
everywhere,
Darryl
and
Lacey.
anything is in that pub. So
Because Darryl Lacey, if you turn around and went, just a nice cold pint of Foster's on the hot day, he'd go mad. Look at him, he's like that, I can't say anything.
I would have genuinely. I think I really don't know. I'd go for, you know what I like, don't you? So I'm a bit of a traditionalist in a lot of ways. I don't like all this
Traditional
stuff.
bitter.
And so I found myself recently, like almost as a treat, buying, you know, like the sort of big bottles of bog standard sort of Betty and the 500ml bottles.
Hobgoblin,
Yeah,
or,
that sort of thing.
Speckled hen, something like that.
Nice. But like, the best beer I always think is like your holiday, is your beer you have on holiday. And
FS in Turkey.
that sort of thing. And then when
yeah.
you get home and you have it, you think, oh, this is actually this piss.
So that's it.
That's it. I go to Turkey every year, family, Bosch, FS, left, right, and centre. You come home, you buy it in the supermarket, generally own bargains, and sell it, and you go, "Tss, shit." Language.
yeah.
So basically, you're into the infinite pub, into the beer garden,
Into the big, it's sitting
into
in
the
the
sun,
sunshine
and
and
ordering
ordering like
ice cold lager.
some fizzy pish, thank you, that'll do for me. Yeah. And
Fair
then
enough.
in an ice glass.
We've got however many episodes deep here, Daryl, and I don't think you've ever given us an answer to the infinite pub question.
I'll tell you what that actually. Best beer I've ever had flavour
That's
of.
because I keep getting
Is
interrupted.
they still make De Koning? Remember that?
The Koenig?
Yeah.
That's the Belgian.
Yeah, Belgian beer. I remember
Oh,
having
yeah.
that when I was about 16 on a school trip and thinking this is the
Right.
best tasting thing I've ever had in my life.
I'll tell you what,
Probably because I
what.
was 16.
Mr. Kane's
If I
laughing over
remember-
there. He's either thinking,
He's not had the Koenig. But if one of our suppliers does the Koenig,
Get it in.
you get some.
don't start with that. I had to blag him for 2 years to get Dunkel in.
Oh, come on, I got you.
A case,
6,
yeah. And
8 cases, I think it was, in
yeah,
Yonder.
and I must have. Well, you didn't get me 8 cases. You got me 2
Only
cases.
got it in because
and
you
then I-
asked.
Yeah, no, but it's gone, hasn't it? There's only a few left.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, well, shut up. What about Dunkel?
This isn't like
I only bring the best
Bagpuss where
beers.
they bring stuff into the shop and nothing is ever sold.
Right, well, all I'm saying is if you bring his
Not
stuff
yet,
in
anyway.
and it doesn't sell, we'll be having this conversation again.
I've been trying to make a living on podcasts if that's the case. It's not going to go well.
It's like when I say to him that when I'm abroad and stuff, Kronenberg Blanc is amazing, and he's never had it. He says he just sees Kronenberg and goes, "Oh no!" But they don't sell it anymore. They used to sell
I've
it.
seen it. I
anymore,
have seen
but
it here now.
When it's ice cold at the draft, it's very, very. But and I think it is just that summer because
Yeah.
generally you get it
Just-
abroad,
yeah.
and it just reminds
the-
me of
The ambiance.
the only time of the year where I have no stresses. Where it's just like,
Yeah.
and then
I
15
think that
miles.
helps, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think that's what it reminds me of, happiness. See, Daryl's looking out going,
No, I'm
yeah.
trying to think. You know, this abroad and genuinely, and actually enjoyed the beer. I mean, drunk it because that's what they're
That's all they've
for.
got.
To actually sit and enjoy it,
Well, it's like when I went,
that's.
it's like when I went to Spain recently. I don't like Mahon or however you say it, or Man.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't like Estrella usually. But then when I'm over there, I think the climate just
Well,
gets to you.
the black Estrella's
It's
really
Australia,
good.
Galicia. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But then I'm just sat there going, "Can I have a pint of it?" And I'm going, "Oh yeah." And I hate lager. But then it's like it just tastes amazing when it's 35 degrees and you're melting.
Yeah.
And it's,
Like
and it's a
water
euro.
probably tastes
And
nice
it's
as
a
well.
don't drink water. And it's a euro for a litre and a half bottle from the off
That's
license.
always, that always helps, doesn't it?
And the thing is though, you convince yourself if I don't drink this in 7 minutes, flight's gonna go red hot.
Yeah. It'll be a waste of 30 cents. That.
And then you do that really immoral thing of just thinking, I'm gonna go for a swim now after 4 and hope the sea doesn't wash you out.
The whole point of it. There's no picture of me age 18 on
Yeah.
the news.
Oh, there's Chris Raven at us again.
Where's this lad come from that's swimming inland now into Mallorca? I were in Benidorm 2 hours ago. So, showing off what we're in Benidorm?
Swimming to Mallorca from
In
Benidorm.
2 hours.
No chance. No chance. So we've gone for a Belgian. There you go. You can add that to the Belgian beer because I think, well, obviously Belgian Mark picked a Belgian beer from the Infinite Bar, didn't he? But
Yeah, do you know what? I still don't know what it was he
I
picked.
can't remember.
He said, I went, yeah.
The thing is though, because
Apparently he brought it in for us to
we had about
taste.
5, which was already one more than we usually do, and then he was like, and I've brought these. So we had about 7 or 8 beers there. But they're all like 11%, so by the end of it, Daryl couldn't spell his own name, and I was just about holding on.
I don't know how he does it.
I've seen him when he's absolutely wasted. and
His knowledge.
he just slows down a little bit. That's it.
But he just retains the knowledge, and you're just like, how can you even speak, let alone?
He's good.
That's the thing, man. You think of yourself as a connoisseur rather than a drunk, and then
Not a drunk in a connoisseur.
Yeah. So I mean, next time, Chris, we'll see. It won't be because you definitely don't come in the bar. It'll be when you go out for a run.
yeah, when
or-
I run there.
I'll point you out the Deconic. They're
doing
still on
some,
the
like-
shelf because you want to drunk.
Yeah,
anyway.
I'll come in when I finish this charity work that I'm doing or whatever it is.
Yeah. Or when he's going via Morrison's, which is nowhere near his house and route. He just walks around to go. Hi. God, I can't believe you're trying to get him in trouble.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Should we try the New England IPA?
Yeah, go on, go for
Yeah.
it.
So here we go.
Although to be fair, for people on the people watching, I did say I'm not a massive fan of New England IPAs.
Well, the thing is, when you just compare like this, compare with the
Remember to speak up and
first one we
enunciate.
had.
Which is it now?
Sorry.
Which is it?
So this is the Wild Horses.
That's Mr. Kane, our resident. Yeah, our resident audience. He's the one that's. I think you've seen.
I'm not clapping.
I think
Yeah.
I think you've seen every single episode, bar the one from Marble Brewery. haven't
You
you?
like Statler and Waldorf, is that what you are? From
Well, I'll be honest. He's been here. He's the only one that don't make noise. Jimmy came in. Jimmy was the guy who blocked the camera before. He came over there, started banging and stocking shelves for no reason, and then left. He's not even working.
That doesn't percent yet.
I was going to say, where's he gone to me? Has he got?
It's coming back, isn't it?
Is he? Hopefully we'll be finished by then.
Beep 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 beep. Funny, isn't it, when he walked?
Just waltzed in. Made a pee. Well, that's the beauty of being live.
Yeah. So you prove it's live, isn't it, and stuff like that.
Do you need a? No, he's got him. We said you need a lift, but he's got one.
That's what's this one.
So this is the Wild Horses. So this is the New England IPA. That's what,
I don't know what
It's
happened
not
to
as-
him though.
not
We
as-
need flakes.
oh, it's the first out, so it's a little bit.
Hook, line and sinker then. Look at him. Don't bite, Daryl. Don't do it.
It's poured continental style.
Oh, that just smells mint though.
I just know.
I did say that I don't usually like New England IPAs,
So
but
yeah,
that
so
smells amazing.
compared with the first one, what we're kind of looking at is less, still really fruity, really fruity, but less bitterness on the finish.
Yes, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
Look at him trying to get under froth.
Got fruity taste with it.
Yeah.
So it does have a slight bitterness, but it has a little bit more. It's more.
What's the taste?
Got fruit taste.
Yeah, but what is it? For me, it is.
I'm gonna go with peach again.
I was just going to say it's like a sour peach. No, genuinely, I was just going to say it's like a stewed peach. I mean, well, I did say sour peach, but you know what I mean.
It's a bit more citrusy than that, so I get like
Something like a
pineapple
grapefruity type.
kind of grapefruit. Yeah. See, the yeasts have gone away from that, getting that kind of like grapefruit kind of flavour, which is characteristic of the West Coast IPAs from America. And I'm not sure what the hops are in this, but it could be New Zealand or Australian hops. So they tend to be a little bit more fruit, so you get more peach, pineapple kind of flavours in there. So, tell you what.
Just remind the folks again who makes that.
Oh, this is Wild Horses in Llandudno.
And they asked
Well,
that, so I
the
could
people
go.
they came up
Yes.
with.
So they
You can
came
tell
from
Wild
there, so they're
Horses
awesome.
that that's the best New England IPA I think I've tasted. But
very
genuinely,
good.
I probably would still only have a pint of it.
What
It's
is it? What
just-
is it about that you don't
I
like?
don't know.
But what, New England IPA?
No,
I think, do you know,
like
I think
that's
the lack of bitterness on the finish makes them harder to drink
The lack
in a
of
way.
bitterness.
Yeah, the lack
Yeah,
of
because that's what I like about a dry finish. Is it almost like cleanses your palate to
Yeah.
then start again? You know what I
As soon,
mean?
yeah, as soon as you get that bitterness, all you want is
It's
another
more.
mouthful.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, isn't it? That's
That's-
why it's there,
That's
basically.
how they get you.
How we get you.
Yeah, that is nice though. That is nice.
This is it. It reminds me a bit of the old Cloudwater IPAs. So apparently there's onion flavours in this.
By the way,
You
it's
get
all
onion in here.
Cloudwater's been going for decades.
Onions.
The old Cloudwater.
Well, when we first started, the Cloudwater were doing their IPAs versions 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was brand new, totally different. Well,
You're boring
it's
in
a
this
totally different
yawning.
kind of IPA.
No.
I'll wrap it up quickly.
Carry on. I want to hear about the history of Cloudwater.
And it had
When
this
we're having wild
particular
horses.
flavour to it, which Keith always describes as onion. I never got why it's called onion.
The thing is, now you've said onion,
And
I
it's-
can taste
You
onion.
can get onion in there. Really?
Think onion,
This
think
has that
onion, and
little
then
bit
you
of
get
that
that tart.
Cloudwater onion character.
Yeah, exactly. Now you've put it in your head.
Caramelised.
Doing bits of- yeah, exactly. See, you can't say that.
So, this is the last time anybody is giving an opinion
I
on
can't be
taste.
wrong about what
No.
it tastes like.
Yeah,
I've
but
changed my mind.
exactly. Yeah, but the thing
I've
is though,
changed my mind.
it's not relevant to anything. I can literally go on as you drink it now. I can say anything, and it doesn't,
Psychology.
and it won't taste that way. But now, but onion, absolutely.
I've never got onion.
You got it then, didn't you?
Yeah. So,
Genuine.
like a
And you said
caramelised
he
onion
can't be
chutney
wrong.
type thing.
Yeah, oh, caramelised. You need to get the cheese and biscuits out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's okay. It's nice that I like it. I can just taste
No,
onions
it's
now.
not onion.
It's onion.
That is not onion.
Why are you saying it with a face as though you've just eaten a roll?
Yeah.
It's not onion. Ah.
Oh, you're the verbal equivalent of eating out.
But no, it is nice that. It'd be a one pinter for me, but
Well, it should be 7% as well.
yeah, no, but I'd drink the 7% stuff, so
But
I'm
there's-
not an alcoholic either, Chris.
There's no point, is it? It's about, this is what I like about new craft beers and strong ones. It's about having a small amount and enjoying the flavour.
Over a period, yeah.
Yeah.
He says, after he got through 5 in an hour.
It's all about moderation and just savouring the flavour.
We're all
over a period of
we don't have anything to do that. I mean, I've got to go home and parent. That's a piece of cake.
I'm
It's
working
easy-
till 11
it's
o'clock
easier
on my own. Jimmy's not working tonight.
He's just come in and stocked your bar and upset the actual podcast. Well, yeah, I'll be honest. There were 4 good selections plus the
Plus the bonus.
plus the bonus one. Yeah,
You should
And-
remember that one down with the usual in Yates. Moderation is true temperance.
yeah, it's a good one. And then after,
Yeah, I could see everybody in Yates's looking at that going,
yeah,
I'm just going to moderate my drinking.
I will live my life like that.
Chris is gonna like savour this though, sip it, because as soon as that red light goes off, he's gonna go. I'll go back to the £3.90 cask
back to the cask.
Chris is way too sensible.
But no, another good selection to be fair.
Yeah.
Which was your best?
Good.
Before we
Which is
wrap
my
up.
favourite. I think I enjoyed the cider best.
Do you know, I'm going to say the side as well. It was just so ridiculously
That
easy
was
to
really
drink.
good as well.
As much
It
as I
is all
enjoyed,
good, actually.
as much as I enjoyed that because I picked it, it pains me to say that was the best.
Yeah.
It was
That
just.
is-
It's just it doesn't even taste. It sounds weird to say it doesn't taste alcoholic, but it is literally every single taste bud just goes.
I like the fact on this beer review thing, we've all picked the one. The one that tastes least like beer was my favourite.
Yeah.
But this one isn't actually beer.
Well, yeah.
Well done, Ascension.
Well, thanks, Chris. Thanks for doing this.
Well, thanks for inviting me on.
I mean, I have to say, I'm really excited about having you down because
Oh.
I just think it's
Well,
absolutely
you don't see me
fascinating.
very often, do you?
No, this is
No, just
find out
passive.
something about me for once.
There was a distinct lack of jokes, I'll be honest, but you know.
Oh, mine was the best.
Yeah, it went down like a lead balloon. We sat here.
I've been laughing for hours about that. But yeah,
You really will.
I mean, I think it is absolutely fascinating. Barrister, stand-up comedian, it is.
Alcoholic.
It is absolutely. I'm not saying. Absolutely.
You
fascinating.
insinuated it, that was enough. But no, so yeah, thanks for joining us again, guys. Hopefully, there'll be more on the road. It depends if Darryl pulls his finger out, but you can't.
Are you back to your ring
He
again?
whoa! Tell us how to drink. But he can't blame all these breweries forever. But I might try and sort the next one out. So fingers crossed.
Really?
And if Chris wants to come along, he's more than welcome because he didn't tell any jokes.
Yeah, I'll come along with it.
But cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Left me hanging then.
Cheers,
Cheers,
cheers
everyone.
Tom, our audience.